Hi, my name is Jane Wanjehi. I'm 42 years of age. I'm an experienced Kenyan teacher, currently teaching at Mukure Wanyagadanga under the Teacher Service Commission of Kenya. I hold two bachelors, Bachelor of Science in Fisheries, which I did and completed at Moi University. I also hold a Bachelor of Education in Science, which I did and completed at Mount Kenya University. Because of the love and the passion that I have for children, I decided to go back and do postgraduate diploma in education, which I did at Nairobi University. And currently, I'm teaching the three sciences, that is biology, chemistry, and physics. And I feel this is the area that I'm supposed to teach because I love science, I love nature, and that is why I have chosen to apply for the post in order to work in an area where there are plenty of resources so that I can be able to utilize, to exploit your resources and achieve my goals. I love children very much and I treasure spending a lot of time with them, and this is the reason as to why I chose to become a teacher. For the next 5 years professionally, I'm purposing to author a book. The book will comprise of the three sciences, whereby I will be having some areas with the problems that are frequently causing a lot of problem to the learners, and then I will have another area where I've given them the way forward on how they would solve such kind of problems. I normally work for 5 days in a week, and the days run from Monday up to Friday. I also work for 8 hours in a day because my teaching time starts from 8 a.m. in the morning and it ends at 5 p.m. in the evening. I would say, if teachers were to describe me, that is my colleague teachers, majority of them would say, right, the teacher is very dedicated. Others would say, right, the madam is very hardworking. And others would also say, right, that teacher is very creative and very innovative. And I would say, education is quite important. This is one experience that I can talk about. The reason as to why education to me is quite important is because in areas or even in social areas where people are not educated, there are so many conflicts that come by and they are able to solve them. But in other areas where majority of them are illiterate, just because of the ignorance we are talking about, you find that there are so many conflicts, and solving such kind of conflicts becomes very difficult. Now, the reason as to why I have applied for the teaching post in your country is because I love America. I have passion for the country. I would wish to work there. Reason being, there are so many resources which would enable me bring a difference in the life of children and at the same time in the world entirely. Okay, if I'm to answer a question on how I prepare for a lesson, there are several things that I would consider. Whenever I'm preparing a lesson, I always ask myself, what are the objectives? Why am I going to teach the lesson? Once I get the objectives, I ask myself, what are the learning activities? What will I involve? Which activity should I involve in my lesson? Okay, in this case, I may choose, for example, oral questions and answers. Other times I would choose independent questions, and other times I would decide to go for discussion method. And then something else I always consider are, what are the learning materials? The learning materials I will consider because you have to choose the materials that are available in school or around where you are. And therefore, whenever I am preparing for the lesson, I have to consider the availability of materials. Bearing in mind that the very first thing I considered was the timeline. How long is the lesson going to take? Why do I have to consider this? Because we do have single lesson which runs for 40 minutes or double lesson which will go for 80 minutes. And then, what are the components of a good lesson plan? According to me, I would say a good lesson plan should comprise of: 1, it should have the goals. The goals must always be there as the guiding point. And these goals must be smart, because you have to consider, are they measurable? Are they achievable? Are they sufficient? These are some of the factors that you have to consider. That is as pertaining to the goals. And then I have to consider the time. What are the resources that are available? Not forgetting that when you are doing all this, another important component is that one of how do you test? How do you assess the understanding of the content by the learners? While I'm assessing, I have to ask myself, what do I use? Which strategy do I use when I'm assessing my learners? I may decide to assess them formatively, that is within the class. I will give them some questions. I will give them some tests. I may ask them oral questions. I want to give an example of a class that I recently attended before the COVID-19 had struck our country. I was teaching a lesson in chemistry where I was teaching on chemical formulas. And I found that there were suitable strategies that I would use. And the ones that I went for were questions and answer. That is, independent questions and answer. Once I taught them, I gave them questions. And the questions I was giving them, I went round checking what they were doing. And I also decided to give them a test. As a teacher, you cannot miss to have a difficult situation or a challenge that you have met in class. In fact, for myself, there is this challenge that actually keeps following me. I teach a content. According to myself, I find the content is very easy. And the way I'm putting it to the learners, I always expect them to understand. But then you get surprised. You get shocked. You get very disappointed when you realize that whatever you had taught for maybe a double or a single lesson, there is none of the learner who has grasped the information, the content that you wanted them to get. There are so many experiences that I have. One of them is that one of participating in community activities. I like participating in community because I treasure interacting with people very, very much. And at the same time, while at school, I like interacting with parents. So I always hold Parent Information Day. In this, I will call the parents and we interact with them as we deliberate the way forward on how we can assist their learners. And this experience has actually assisted me in getting good grades, good performance, both in my subject and even in my class. I have informed my family that if things goes well, I would be going to USA, and there is none who has objected. In fact, they are very, very happy. At the same time, I have told them that once we go to America, I may not be able to be accompanied by my family at first. This one can only happen after approximately 4 to 6 weeks after my departure. And there is none who is complaining. All of them are happy about it. Then I have also read and seen that if things goes well and I get the job, that I'm supposed to remain in America for only 3 years, and after 3 years I'm supposed to come back home and then I reapply, which I don't have a problem. I agree, I'm comfortable, and I'm looking forward for that. Then there is this scenario of a class that is notorious of making noise. We as trained teachers, we have to look for ways on how we can assist the learners. Though they are noise makers, we cannot throw them from class. Though they are inattentive, we cannot chase them from class. And therefore, because we want continuity and we need success in such kind of a class, there are several ways I have used. One, I have decided to talk to them. Not only talking to them, but we formulate rules and regulations together with them. Never the learner is contravening on what we have written as pertaining to noise making. He is aware that he is doing the wrong thing, and he also knows the consequences of whatever he is doing. In that case, I have seen this method works. I've also decided to use group division, those who are notorious noise maker, and I call them during my free time. And I will talk to each one of them individually. When I'm talking to them or to him, I will try and show him the consequences of noise making and what is likely to happen if he improves and stop being inattentive in class. Really, I have seen this method work. The student get convinced that making noise in class is not good. And therefore, my work becomes very easy. Because once the notorious noise maker stops making noise, they encourage the others to remain quiet, and the class becomes manageable. Not forgetting that there are times you can try to apply all these strategies, but they don't work. So at that scenario where they are not working, I always engage the parent. I will call the parent and we discuss the way forward. I will inform the parent about the child behavior. And then once we discuss, we come up with rules, now the student and the parent, and we talk to the learner. And I have seen this method work because most of the parents are very cooperative, and we always struggle, me being the teacher, him being the parent, and then the child, and we see the growth. Then here in my country, the method that we use for evaluation, yes, there are many, but I will just cite few of them. For the evaluation, mainly we use the formative. And with the formative, this is where we issue quizzes. We at times issue homeworks. This one is done day to day. After every lesson, you do it. And then I also use the summative. And with the summative, this is where at the end of the year, we test the entire content that we have taught for the whole year. So I come up with an exam that is a little bit complex, a little bit large. Not forgetting that on our day-to-day running at school, I also use the interaction method, and I also use the observation method. For the grading system, here, mainly we use the percentages, and we also use the grading system. We have come up with the grading system, and the grading system is based on which language, which subject. So for the languages, there is a grading system. For the sciences, there is a grading system. And for the humanities and the applied, there is also a grading system. For the flexibility, I would say that I'm very flexible. What can prove that I'm flexible is that I handle a class of 35 and above learners. Out of the 35, all of them, they come from different backgrounds. They also have different learning abilities, but the best part is that I'm capable, I am able to accommodate each one of them. For technology, there's a question on the usage of a smart board. This one, to be very sincere, I would say, truly I have never used them. In our country, we mainly use the chalkboard or the whiteboard. But what I would say is that the smart board, theoretically, they are not new to me. I have basic idea about them, which I have learned through self-study. But practically, I have not used them. And therefore, I would be lying to you if I say that I have used it. Sincerely, I have never used it. Thank you so much for listening to my self video, and I'm looking forward for a positive consideration, and I would really wish to be considered for the job. Thank you, and may God bless you.